not sure. Can you hear that? It is actually raining. This is maybe the third time I've heard the rain this year. It hasn't been raining much here at all. In fact, it has been uncharacteristically low levels of rain the last 3 years. We've lived here for, 3.5 or 4 years, and it's been extremely drought-ridden in the last 3 years. I live in a little property outside of this village. How cottagecore can I be? I live in a house that looks like a shed. It's basically a converted shed on a very small property on the hills of the Monero, and the Monero is a place in Australia, in New South Wales, that is almost where it snows, and almost where, like, the scrub is. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that the Monero is a place where there's not much trees at the moment. There's no trees. All the trees are dying. There's a thing called a dieback, where they don't know why, but a few years ago, I'm not sure how many years ago, I haven't looked into this recently, but a lot of the big foundational trees in the area are dying off, and the only ones that are surviving are all twisted and small and almost bonsai'd. The whole area is just grassed hills, but all of the grass is being taken over by this grass called love grass. It's called love grass, and it's I think it's from Africa, and it's a weed, and it's noxious. It's really, really bad. Nothing eats it. It just takes over, and it goes all dry, and it's quite long, and it's just a disaster. But aside from the love grass, the whole ecological system is slowly turning arid. It's turning into a desert. I'm basically living in a desert before the desert forms, and it is in a drought at the moment, and it's really bad. It's really, really bad. I have seen farmers feeding sheep, and that's very expensive, and there's just dust in the paddocks, just dust where there's, like, even the love grass is dying. But we're very lucky here. I'm very lucky that I've got some river frontage. Down on the Murrumbidgee. I was there just today, actually, just this afternoon. It was a really nice, somewhat cold, it's very cold here, a somewhat cold but rather nice afternoon, and my father and Dad, we went for a walk down to the river. Well, actually, I wasn't going to go, but then Dad called me and said there was a wombat out, so I quickly grabbed my camera and I went down to the riverside, and I saw two wombats, and I saw at least two, I think three platypus. It's hard to tell with the platypus. I saw two wombats, three platypuses, three platypus, at least two racali. A racali is a Australian indigenous, people call them water rat, but they're these really cute, like, things. That's not a good explanation. It's not a good explanation, but they're these really, really cute animals that have little whiskers on their faces and long tails with a little white tip. They've got a white tip on their tail. Okay, so where were we? There were two platypus, two wombats. There were two wombats down there, three platypus, and two racali that has this really cute little face with a little pointed nose and, like, whiskers coming off, and right down on the tip of its tail, the tip of the tail is white. It has this shocking white at the very tip of his tail, and sometimes it's harder to distinguish when they're in the river between a racali and a platypus, but I've gotten rather good at it. You can tell the different ways that they swim. The racali will swim, it will pop up, and it will swim swim, and when they dive back down you see the little flick of the whites of their tail, which is very good for IDing them as that. Whereas a platypus, when a platypus comes up, it'll come up and then it will hover in the same spot for a little bit. It'll just kind of tread water there for maybe move a little bit and then dive back down again. And when it dives down, there's no flourish or flick. It's often quite a succinct, not often much splash, but more of a smooth, sleek movement. And if they come up and swim along, they also don't leave quite as large a wake, I found. And they can move very fast, but often when they are wanting to flee fast, often when a platypus wants to flee fast, a fleeing fast platypus will do that underwater. He'll dive down and then you won't see him for ages, and he'll pop up way over the other side of the river, just like a long way down, just miles away. Maybe not miles, but they've got, I think it's a 5k, I don't know, I shouldn't tell you any facts I don't actually know, range of habitat, but their habitat out down where our bridge is perfect. It's running water, but it's very still and calm on top. Today was perfect. The reflections were crystal clear. It was perfect conditions. Perfect. I also saw, what else did I see? Oh, just birds. Yeah, birds. I saw birds, which is exciting, but not as exciting as wombats. The sad thing about the wombats is they did have a little bit of mange, but they're on the other side of the river. They're on the far bank, not on our river frontage. We do have wombats. You can tell that by the abundance of wombat poo. We have quite a lot of wombats on our property, but they get scared. We don't often see them. They won't come out as often. Well, Henry hasn't come out for quite some time, but it is also just coming into season now because it's the end. Well, it's supposedly coming into the end of winter now. But yeah, during spring, we often see a lot more activity of animals, and August apparently is the season for platypus to be seen the most. That's when they do the scientists come and they study the numbers, and also you can be a citizen scientist and you can report your sightings. It's especially important for the ricali, because there's not much science done on them yet. They're still being studied at the moment. In a lot of places where there used to be platypus, ricali have taken over, especially in places like cities where they have lakes or dams or even rivers that are near society, I guess. You won't see the shy platypus because it's not as good at adapting. The habitat will be turned from the nice still waters that a platypus adores, will be completely taken over by ricali instead, because they're much more fearless. I was at Belconnen at the lake there one time, I think it was last year, and I could have reached down and touched this rat. Like, he probably would have run away if I tried to do that, but he was so close. He was right there, this beautiful ricali, and it was precious. He was, amongst the reeds. It was a bit gross because there was really rubbish in there as well, and it was a bit disappointing. It wasn't perfectly pristine because it was in a city environment. But down here, they're more shy than that. They are still wild animals, very much timid, and they will come up and swim down the river, but if I go down to the riverbank real close, they will tend to keep their distance from me. Our river frontage is pretty good for viewing animals because it's quite steep, so you can stand quite a ways from the water's surface, and the animals tend to tolerate that a little bit more, I find, than if I go right down to the riverbank. They get more shy and timid. But anyway, that's my story of today. But it was a lovely day today. The sun was shining brightly, and the birds were singing, and the dog was barking because the kookaburras were laughing. And it doesn't matter how many times we tell Pippin that the dogs aren't barking at him, the kookaburras aren't laughing at him. They're not. Their voice just sounds like laughing. When they talk, it sounds like laughter. He still chases them. shed, they just fly around teasing him. I think they deliberately do it. They will be up one corner and he'll run off up that corner, and then they'll fly back down this way and he'll run off back this way, and they'll stay there for quite some time. Nonchalant, just, carrying on their conversation while the dog goes off. He's a crazy dog. He doesn't bark at anything else. He doesn't chase anything else. He just doesn't like their tone, I suppose. But yes, it's raining tonight. It's raining tonight. If you can't hear that, you might not be able to hear that. I will go out to the veranda. No, it's not really a veranda. It's more like a carport at the front of the house, and I will collect some sound and play over. I'll layer some sounds that I collected today, some rain sounds. I'll layer them over this. I'll layer the rain sounds over this footage. Would you like that? We'll see. I'll try. I'll do my best. I'm also hoping to do a video of footage of the native animals, the wombats. I got a little bit of footage. I got a tiny little bit of footage of the wombats today. Then I got even less footage, even less than a little bit of footage of the platypus, because the platypus pops up and it lasts between 4 and 20 seconds and then it dives back down. My dad counted, and while I was busy taking photos and trying to get him in shot, my dad was counting the seconds, and one of them was literally 3 seconds. I think I got 4 seconds of footage of the circles of where he was as well. It's very easy to get the circles of where the platypus was in the water, where he was in the water where the platypus was. It's very easy to get that from. Very easy to get that. Did I just hear him? I think I just heard a magpie. It would be a very wet magpie. But yes, it's very easy to get the footage of the water where the platypus was, or where the platypus is about to be. But today we got some good shots because he was being predictable, and my dad was like, okay, he's coming up now, press record now, and then I press record, and then there he was, which was very, very good. And there was a stick on the side of the river that was like pointing, and then the platypus would come up and go down near that stick, which was very neat for identification purposes of where I should be filming, because we're quite a ways away from where they actually are. The camera footage will be wobbly and terrible, quite terrible. But I'm very much looking forward to editing that up for you. I'm looking forward to it a lot. Yeah. Can you hear the rain? I can hear it nice and loudly, but I'm not sure if it'll turn up on the microphone because I've set the settings of the microphone to pick up my whisper. I'm not sure it'll pick up the rain. Not sure. There's also the hum of the fan from the fire coming out there. So, the weather. Do you like the rain? Do you like the rain? Do you like it? The rain? I love the rain, personally. The rain is one of my favorite weathers. I like cold more than I like heat. But one of my favorite things is when you have a fairly warm day. Like not too hot, like nothing over 32. But I guess a 24 day would be perfect. But then you get that hot day with that cool breeze come through, and you can feel the weather change. You know that cold front is coming through, and then on that breeze comes these dark looming storm clouds, and then it rains, and it thunders, and it lightnings, and it rains, 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 and it rains. When I was a kid, I swear it used to rain for weeks at a time. light angel kisses, of just these light angel kisses, these light angel kisses of rain. The next day where you can put your face out and stand in the rain, and when you'd be standing in the rain, you'd be standing later, and it would just feel like light angel kisses on your face. That's my favourite kind. Well, it's not my favourite kind of rain, but it's excellent. It's an excellent day when it's, warm enough to go outside in the rain and just dance, I suppose, just dance in the rain. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy being out in the rain. Also, when I was a kid, it used to rush down so heavily. The rain would be so heavy that it would make the gutters just fill with lots of running water, and then it would stop raining. It would go dry. The sky would go dry, but the gutters would continue to run, and we would get leaves, and we'd make little boats, and we'd run up the top of the street, and we'd put the boat down, and then watch it come all the way down to our driveway. That was such a fun time. I think it happened multiple times. I have memories of it. But when you're a kid, you're not sure if it only happened once or if it happened every second week. Yeah. There used to be an oak tree across the road from my house when I was growing up, and I used to go and climb in it. There was like a line and then a ditch, and there was like a drainage hole, and then the tree would come up near the drainage hole. This giant oak tree. I mean, it wasn't giant, it just felt giant because I was a child. My card was full, and my video cut me off. So I'm going to do a really quick goodbye before this card also cuts me off because it is not fast enough for these recordings. So long story short, too long didn't